Just playing the Kirk Cousins audio, Minnesota Vikings quarterback. You're just waking up with us, several different things that we've been discussing in the first hour of the program. We've got the return of FBS football. We had the game on Saturday between Central Arkansas and Austin Peay. Central Arkansas will now be traveling. They've stayed in the state of Alabama. They will play against UAB. And we have a full FBS game. South Alabama is going to play against Southern Miss. Saturday there are games. Monday there are games. We are 1 week from the kickoff of the NFL, the Texans against the Chiefs. Football is officially here. The Big Ten obviously still battling to try to figure out whether or not they can find a way to return. We will see what transpires there. A lot of drama associated with the Big Ten. And as you look around the landscape, obviously, we also have the NHL and the NBA playoffs underway. Last night was like the WWE. We're going to go down to the bubble in Orlando to talk with our NBA insider, Chris Mannix, in the next segment. But I wanted to give everybody a chance to weigh in on what Kirk Cousins said because he got criticized by a lot of people in the media, but I thought he was 100 billion% correct. And also, I appreciate him not trying to hide from what his opinion was. Let me just give you a quick story in my own life. All three of my kids are back in school physically present. My 7th grader, my 4th grader, and my kindergartner. Now, my 7th grader still is a little bit going back and forth in that he's there for 3 days. He's home for 2 days. They're going to make a decision, I hope, to have everybody back in his grade the day after Labor Day, Tuesday of next week. So I'm hopeful that that's where we are headed fairly rapidly in short order there. But in the meantime, all my kids are back in school. Not only that, I've been to the movie theater the last 3 weeks. Movie theaters are open where I live. I took my kids and my wife. We all went and saw 2 weeks ago. We went and saw The Empire Strikes Back in the movie theater. Awesome. They were playing classic movies because there weren't enough new movies to be released on all the screens. So we went and watched that. Then we also, last week, went and watched Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters on the theater, wife and kids. And then last night, I went and watched on the IMAX screen Tenet, the new movie from Christopher Nolan. And it was mind-blowing. It would twist your head around. There was so many different cool aspects of the movie. I feel like I needed to see it more than once. But I went out to go to all 3 movies in 3 straight weeks. Now, as a condition for going into the movie theater, you have to have a mask on. And so same thing if you're going to a lot of places to shop or whatever else. I wear the mask because that is the rule. Not because I'm not going to be the person who's throwing a fit and arguing and everything else, whatever. If I can go watch movies in a movie theater, I'm happy to comply with whatever the rules are, much like I might prefer to sit and watch a movie without any T-shirt on, right? But you have to have its shirt to go to a movie theater. So that's their rule. Now, if I'm sitting at home, I can watch everything naked if I want to. I don't have to wear any clothes. But if you go out in public, that sign, no shirt, no shoes, no service, has been universally in fast food restaurants, in a bunch of different stores over the years. And so I'll wear a mask in order to be able to sit down in a movie theater and watch movies for 3 straight weeks. Now, when you're eating popcorn or when you are eating your snacks or drinking your snack, you don't have to have the mask on. So there's a lot of cosmetic theater going on associated with mask wearing, right? And probably some of you know what I'm talking about. Like, you can go to a restaurant, you can sit and eat indoors, but in order to do so, you have to have a mask on when you walk to your table. But once you're at your table, you can take off the mask. So how much protection are you really giving to the restaurant when you're not wearing a mask for 99% of the time that you are in the restaurant? Is it really that much of a difference to have one on when you walk into the restaurant and then keep it on until you're seated at your table and then you immediately take it off? I mean, I think those are interesting questions that intelligent people think about. But that's the rule. I'm not going to stand at the front of the restaurant and throw a fit, and I'm also not going to throw a fit that I have to wear one to walk into a movie theater. And again, I have been to a movie theater 3 straight weeks. I've taken my kids. If I had the ability to go to an NFL game or a college football game today, I would take my kids. I would be happy to take them, and I wouldn't worry at all about anything going to those games, all right? So, with that in context, here is what Kirk Cousins said. He's the first athlete I've heard who has spoken out and said what he did, and I think, frankly, a lot of athletes would agree with him. Here's what he said.
On that spectrum, if 1 is the person who says masks are stupid, you are all a bunch of lemmings, and 10 is I'm not leaving my master bathroom for the next 10 years, where do you land?
I'm not going to call anybody stupid for the trouble it could get me in, but I'm about a 0.000001. Yeah.
Really? How come?
Yeah. I just, I want to respect what other people's concerns are. But for me personally, if you're just talking, no one else can get the virus. What is your concern if you could get it? I would say I'm going to go about my daily life. If I get it, I'm going to ride it out. I'm going to let nature do its course. Survival of the fittest kind of an approach, and just say, if it knocks me out, it knocks me out. I'm going to be okay. Even if I die, I die. I kind of have peace about that. So that's really where I fall on it. So my opinion, wearing a mask and is really about being respectful to other people. It really has nothing to do with my own personal thoughts.
That is Kirk Cousins. That is on Kyle Brandt's podcast. I agree with everything that he said there. I want to bring in the crew. I know that we live in different parts of the country. You guys are in L.A. When you hear that I went to an IMAX movie yesterday and watched Tenet, are you like, what in the world? Because I know in California you guys aren't close to being able to do that.
Yeah, the closest thing, as far as coming close to seeing that movie was reading all the reviews last night all over the internet and Twitter. So jealous that you got to see that. But, yeah, I'm with you. I'm glad that Cousins was honest. We always ask that of our athletes, it seems like. But then when they are honest, a ton of people and some media members get upset with them for keeping it super real.
The Corona Bros are mad at him.
Yeah, and, our experience here in California has been a lot different than yours in Nashville. We've been on a perpetual lockdown here in our state. Not only no movie theaters or eating inside restaurants, but I haven't seen my mom or dad or any family member in person for a year now. And like my mom lives just outside the Bay Area, and they were hit hard there with COVID. So I respect the fact that she's just staying there, by herself.
Now, to be honest, a year, part of that's just you're a bad son, because you could have seen her plenty of times, but between August and March of last year, and you didn't.
Well, normally I would have went during the holiday time, but remember I stayed here for the year-end special, so part of it is just the dedication to Outkick.
Yeah, but when you say you haven't seen her for a year, that's not because of the coronavirus.
I'm talking about this entire year.
Oh, you're talking about this year. Yeah,
right.
But you could have gone in January, February, or March until the shutdowns happened.
Well, think about it. We were busy with the Super Bowl.
I know, you can make excuses, but you're just a bad son. But
pretty much.
When people hear you haven't seen her for a year, they sound
look,
you're exaggerating.
People were already scaring us about the coronavirus at the Super Bowl. I don't know if you remember this, but when we were on Radio Row, the guy who brought Terrell Owens over, he gave us 2 packages of masks.
Yeah.
And he told us, hey, this Wuhan thing, it's for real. It's going to get bad over here, even in our country.
Yeah.
You left your package of masks on the table.
That's right.
He told us, make sure you wear your mask on the airplane home. So I did that, and it was crazy because on my flight
you wore your mask on the flight back?
I did. I was the only one on that entire plane on the way back to LAX at the start of February wearing a mask. And so in February, we were aware of it. March, obviously, was the lockdown.
By the way, I'm confident that I got exposed to it in February at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I just am. There were a ton of people from San Francisco there. I was out and about. I probably shook I shook hundreds of hands a day because we had a live radio show. So, I mean, it's just not difficult at all to keep in mind like how all that was shaking out. But yes, you're right. In February, that was the start of this whole process.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been an entire year of this, and it's crazy to think about. When we get to March of 2021, What's going to be different? Is it going to be one entire year of this?
I mean, look, the data reflects that it's way past time to end any shutdowns or any lockdowns. Half of the deaths, if New York were being honest, over half the deaths would be in nursing homes. Based on what we know now, what we should have done was aggressively protect people in nursing homes. 0.6% of the population is in a nursing home, and nearly half of all deaths have occurred in nursing homes. So this virus is a big issue for people who are already sick, who have multiple comorbidities. But if you are under the age of 50, the idea that we ever lock down anybody under the age of 50 is absolute insanity based on the data. So I'm living my life. Like I'm going to movie theaters. I'm going to restaurants. My kids are in school. I am living almost entirely 100% my normal life. I'm not changing my behavior now. So, if you need me to wear a mask to go into a restaurant or to go into a movie theater or to go into some sort of venue, I'm fine. I go to my gym. I'm not wearing a mask while I work out. I mean, I think that's crazy. I don't want to suffocate. I'm certainly not somebody who's wearing masks like at my kids' Little League events, which are going on. Like, the world has gone insane in the United States over responses to this virus.
So
and
would you have moved out of California if you were here because gyms aren't open? Outside for salons just started the other day.
I have never been more happy that I don't live in a place like California than now.
With everything closed here, how do you think you would be handling it right now if you were a California
I would be beyond
resident?
Measure furious, because I would be looking at the data and saying this is totally nonsensical. So I wouldn't be handling. Well, I'm so glad of where I live. I've never been more happy to live. Look, high school football is going on. I can go watch any high school football game I want. The University of Tennessee is about to play. Kirk Cousins is correct. Like, the data is straightforward. I'm not saying the virus doesn't exist. It clearly does. But if you are young and healthy, the idea that you shouldn't be in school is crazy. The idea that we shouldn't be playing sports is crazy. The people who are testing positive, all of them who are young just about, are not even a huge number of them don't even know that they have the virus. I can't remember any time in history where otherwise 100% healthy people have felt like they were terrified that they might be sick. And so, again, just look at the data. And college kids are easy because college football is returning today. And thank God that they've managed to fight through to be in a position to be playing. But you're more likely to die of the seasonal flu if you are a college kid. There has never been a point in time where we have shut down college campuses over the seasonal flu. Your son or daughter is far more likely to die of alcohol poisoning from drinking too much at a party, assuming that they could actually get to a party on a college campus, than they are from the coronavirus. They're more likely to be murdered than they are to die of the coronavirus. They're more likely to die driving to and from campus than they are from the coronavirus. And by the way, if you're under 50 years old, for most people, you are under greater danger if you are driving to work every day and driving home than you are from the coronavirus. If you're in nursing homes, we need to protect those people. If they get the coronavirus, it can be deadly to them. And we've known that data for a while now. And despite that fact, New York did an awful job protecting people in nursing homes. So did Pennsylvania. So did New Jersey. So did Michigan. I think we should be investigating the governors in those states for the decisions that they made back in March and April. But the CDC just came out with data that said the average person dying, and I think it's important to say dying with the coronavirus as opposed to dying of the coronavirus. Because if you have stage 4 terminal lung cancer, your kidneys aren't working and your liver isn't working, and you test positive for the coronavirus, that's a coronavirus death. Well, a huge percentage of people dying with the coronavirus would have died otherwise in the near future because they were already very, very sick with multiple comorbidities. So again, I think the data matters. What about you, Dub? As you hear Kirk Cousins there, are you in agreement with him?
I mean, I am, and I feel like half the country at least is in agreement with him. Yet he's
more people every day are in agreement with Kirk Cousins. The media is not.
Absolutely. I mean, just for example, when I go to a gas station or I go to a restaurant or something, almost every time, and half the time it's me, I see people that go up to the door, they're about to walk in, and they have to turn around because they forgot their mask.
Right.
Okay, so obviously those people are only wearing the mask because they're required to. If they were seriously concerned about the coronavirus, they would have the mask on. So that happens on a daily basis. And Kirk Cousins
happened to me at the movie theater last night.
Exactly.
I went in to go see Tenet, walked up with my wife, realized that I didn't have my mask, turned around, went back to my car, and got the mask and turned around, put it on literally for 2 minutes, bought popcorn, sat down in the movie theater, immediately took it off and started eating popcorn and having a drink.
Yeah, I just don't understand the backlash because he said, and I'm assuming he's doing what he says, he wears the mask out of respect for others, which is what I do, which is what a lot of people do, because there are other people that are at risk and are concerned about this, so you wear a mask. It's the right thing to do. And Cousins was just honest with Kyle Brandt here in this interview, which is what we ask our athletes to do, is to be honest, be real. And that's exactly what he did, and he's getting destroyed by the media.
Of course, because his opinion is not what it is. If he had said on that question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how scared are you? If he, instead of saying 0.000001, if he had said a billion, the media would have been like, oh my God, it's so brave of Kirk Cousins to talk about his fear. You know it. The media, all the sports media would have been like, all the Corona bros would have been like, so glad to hear an athlete acknowledge that he's terrified of the coronavirus. Real men are afraid of things. They aren't trying to pretend they're not. No, I think real men and women look at the data and make rational decisions based on their risk factors. Look, the reality is Kirk Cousins is far more in danger on a football field that he's going to get seriously injured or that he's going to have CTE. Then look at what happened to Alex Smith. All of that is much more serious of a danger to Kirk Cousins than anything from the coronavirus. And so, but it is funny how the media is ripping him. Yet if he had said that he was terrified, they would have been like, oh, what a so brave of him. So brave of him to admit that he's afraid of something that he shouldn't be afraid of. What an upside down world. What about you, Eddie Garcia? What did you think about these comments?
Yeah, I have no problem with Kirk Cousins being honest. If that's how he feels, I appreciate that he said that he's still being respectful of other people, which I hope everybody would be, regardless of what their feelings are on the virus. So, yeah, I have no problem with it.
And Roberto, you fine with everything Kirk Cousins said?
Yeah, no problems. And by the way, I saw my mom and my dad yesterday, Danny. So
yeah. Thanks for being a good son.
Thank you.
Yeah, they live down the street from you, jerk.
You could easily get in your car and drive to go see your mom if you really loved her.
Yeah, but if my mom's not taking visitors right now, then that's not really the case.
So she's telling you that you can't visit.
We've done family Zooms once or twice a month.
Was she telling you that she wasn't taking visitors in January, February, and March when you also refused to go visit her?
Well, my schedule mirrors yours. We had our week off in February after the Super Bowl stuff was done, a couple weeks after that, and that's when Carl Goldman was being flown to Nebraska, remember?
All right, hold on. But you had a full week off in February and you didn't go see your mom.
Well, because that's when it all started. That's when people were saying to not travel.
I mean, I was in Mexico.
Yeah, you were. You've gotten to do what we are hoping to do.
Well, no, let's not shift the blame here. You said you had no time where you could have gone and visited your mom this year, and you had an entire week off in February.
I took it more seriously than you. I wore a mask on the airplane. You left yours on the table there at the Super Bowl.
You could have gotten in your car and driven to San Francisco. Nothing was shut down, and your poor mom would have been able to see her son. Danny G, let's take Danny G out of the equation. Dub, do you think Danny G is being a very good son and not having seen his mom?
Well, look, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus here, but I, too, have, in fact, seen my mother during these trying times. So, it's, I guess
but she drinks with you, Dub. That's not fair.
I think it's clear that Dub loves his mom. What about you? Have you seen your mom, Eddie, at all during the year 2020?
Unfortunately, my mom's no longer with us, so that's
that's a downer.
Yeah.
All right,
so he's on my side.
Yeah. Well,
no. If she were still alive, I definitely would have saw her.
Yeah.
You would have been a good son and seen her at some point in 2020. What about you, Roberto? You just said you've seen your mom.
Yeah, I just saw him yesterday, and we hung out outside in a safe manner.
Yeah.
You know, my whole thing is like, you know, I feel like we should have the option to go and do things here in a safe manner. Obviously, wearing a mask, hand sanitizer, etc.
I mean, Disney World is open.
Yeah, exactly. You know, here
Disney
Disneyland's
World
closed.
is open.
And
yeah,
Disneyland isn't. So
Yeah,
we've just been on this super long stay-at-home order.
I've literally had to put on YouTube. I had to put on Universal Studios for my daughter because she misses it that much.
Yeah, that's crazy. I legitimately wonder how much different things would be if this happened after an election instead of an election year. I think everything would be different with the coronavirus if this were not a presidential election year. Like if this were 2021 or 2022 and this happened, I think that there would be a fraction as much of a panic as has set in. I think a lot of this is political.